It's 1900, the dawn of the greatest consumer boom the world has ever seen. But none of it will happen without the discovery of what lies beneath the Texas dirt. Oil. Oil will power the 20th century and build the modern world. Men call it black gold. Texas, a wide open and wild territory, closer to the Old West than modern day. The Hamill brothers, Al, 24, ex-cattleman, Kurt, 28, ex-salesman. A new breed of pioneer on the American frontier. Oil men, young, rugged, ambitious, known as some of the best in the business.
In the beginning of oil, it was hardship. Everything was hard to do. We didn't know anything, only the surface of the ground.
Oil has just been discovered in Texas, but the wells are small. Prospectors have a hunch that this shallow hill near Beaumont, east of Houston, signifies oil.
Right.
What they don't know, what nobody knows, is that beneath their feet lie oil reserves worth more than $11 billion today. Nowhere in the world has anybody discovered this much oil before. The first prospectors to tap into these reserves will become rich beyond their wildest dreams. The field the Hamill brothers are hired to drill will become the stuff of legend. Spindletop.
Until the late 1850s, oil had been really an annoyance to most people. And people would dig water wells, and if they happened to strike oil by accident, they'd curse their bad luck. But with the development of railroads and with the Industrial Revolution, for the first time, people began seeking oil.
Until recently, whale oil cornered the market. It was used in lamps to light homes and streets. But the whales have been hunted to near extinction. One discovery has saved them: oil. Made from the remains of tiny organisms in the world's oceans, it's been down there for as long as 160 million years. Native Americans have used it as medicine. Then, in 1854, scientists in Pennsylvania discover it can be used for lighting. There's no turning back. Coal still dominates industry, powering trains and factories, but it's dirty and less efficient. A ton of coal has half the energy of a ton of oil. For the right rig in the right place, there are fortunes to be made.
Well, that is the American dream, is that this is a land of opportunity where anything is possible if you roll up your sleeves and get to it.
Prospectors have tried drilling at Spindletop before, but all previous wells here came up empty. The land, great for farming, is lousy for drilling. Earlier attempts hit hundreds of feet of sand and collapsed. The Hamills get $2 for every foot they drill. Top dollar in those days. And when investors pay top dollar, they expect results. Their contract pays them to 1,200 feet. If they don't hit oil by then, the well's a dud, and they're through.
Good. That's good. That's good.
Right now, they're at 400 feet. Drilling for oil is dangerous work. 6,000 die in oil explosions every year. Most rigs are primitive tools, smashing through rock by pounding it with a heavy object on a cable. But this is sand. You can't smash your way through sand. The Hamills are gambling on revolutionary technology, a steam engine that drills a pipe through the ground. So far, it's been able to bore through 500 feet of sand and bedrock with no collapses. But at 600 feet, disaster strikes. The drill hits a pocket of explosive gas and water. The pressure forces gas back up through the pipe. They're lucky to survive.
I see a really strong parallel between the culture of prospecting and the culture of entrepreneurial endeavors. You do all your surveys, you plan it out, you think it's really great, you dig down and there's nothing there. It's really hard to predict.
Progress is slow. They're fighting for every foot. The sand is too fine even for their drill. The walls of the borehole are starting to collapse. Normally, these kinds of rigs pump water into the borehole to support its walls. But the sand is too fine, the water too thin. They need a thicker liquid. They're forced to improvise, using only material they have on hand. Water, dirt, and cows.
We brought in a small herd of cattle and turned them loose in a nearby water pit. The cattle stomped around and made lots of mud for us.
The answer to all their problems is mud. With mud holding up the walls of the borehole, they're back on track.
From then on, we operated the rig 24 hours a day.
Kurt's innovation is still in use today. Only now, rigs use synthetic compounds. But drilling fluids like this are still called mud. It's January 10th, 1901. The Hamels have been drilling for over 2 months. They're past 1,100 feet. Still, no breakthrough. Another 100 and they'll have to quit. Then,
I walked over and looked down the hole there. I sort of heard something kind of bubbling just a little bit, and looked down there, and here this frothy oil was starting up. It was just breathing like, you know, coming up and sinking back with the gas pressure. And it kept coming up and over the rotary table, and each flow a little higher and a little higher and a little higher.
this is a day that changes America forever.
Clear, clearing! Finally, it came up with such momentum that it just shot up clear through the top of the derrick.
The geyser of crude oil shoots almost 200 feet into the air. The Hamels were hoping for 50 barrels a day. The well would soon be pumping out over 80,000, making the U.S. the largest oil producer in the world. Overnight, the backers funding the rig are nearly $40 million richer. The Hamel brothers become legends.